do. Very important. Yeah, thank you. So, and noticing the almost syllabic or rhythmic quality of the first part of the song, and then almost like a different shape or energy in the second half of the song, more syllabic. Yeah, Carrie, and then Adam.
Oh, I think Adam was before me.
Or Adam, or we're community here. Yeah.
Um, I have probably too much to say all of a sudden, so forgive me if I talk too long, but I'll try to go fast. Well, this song is exactly doing the thing you asked in the email, like, the things we like. And there's this phenomenon that happens all the time that is like my personal favorite thing, which is like a skipping stone repetition of three things, right? So like it's one note, but it's one by one, everyone comes to, and then it sort of flies off. And this happens like all over the place, like in Forest Green, da dee da dee da 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 da, or in Qumranda, bum ba dee da bum ba dee da bum ba dee da dee da da. And my favorite example is at the very end of Ave Verum Corpus. Oh, so there's this three note, oh, Jesu dulcis, and then it repeats, oh, Jesu pie, and then there's the third one, oh, Jesu fili Maria, just my favorite, like that line is like my favorite piece of writing in all church music ever. I don't know, I just love this. It feels like skipping stones, or it feels like winding up to like run, to take off. And I love it. I love it. And it was what I was thinking about before. And then this song happened. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the thing.
Thank you, Adam. So just noticing that there are certain ways in which the order or the space or the ways that pitches and sound are organized are creating energy that we're connecting to, we're responding to, and that feel almost like, I don't know, intuitive may not be the right word, but they feel somehow natural. I don't know. And again, I don't like the word natural because that can be different from context to context and what we experience. But yeah, healing. And that's what you heard. Carrie, do you want to say a little bit more about that and how you felt or sensed that in the song in this shape?
I have a question first, and then I'll make my comment. And the question is this recording going to be available to us later? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I was cognizant of how the lower range, the repetition made me feel grounded. And then as the tune lifted, there was this kind of a physical sense of kind of lifting with the music. And then what that did for me in terms of kind of a theological spiritual reflection was the sense of yearning and longing as in we're not there yet. So there's this recognition of, oh, we need healing. Oh, we need healing. And then by the music lifting up, we'll remember one heart at a time. Then there's the sense of promise of future for me. So it held me in a beautiful, prayerful space, and it felt like it was making a very strong spiritual, theological statement.
We're going to come back to the song in just a moment, holding all that's been shared here, friends. Thank you so much. This is incredibly both insightful, but remembering here, we're noticing. We're experiencing this from our own first person experience, and we come with how many different ways of seeing, hearing, and life experiences and musical experiences that shape our hearing and shape our heart's awareness. Friends, let's hear it one more time as you'll listen again, and I'll sing it once. You might even just follow the shape along with your hand or some other part of your body. Put it in your body. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world, one heart at a time. Try it again. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the one heart at a time. I think we need to do it once more. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world, one heart at a time. This piece is by Michael Stillwater, and I have never asked Michael personally about where this piece came from, the context from which it arose. Michael is a composer, he writes chants, he's also a documentary filmmaker, and so has an interesting range of gifts. But friends, I wonder if there were any notes, or not even notes, words on a second pass. If you were to do a meta-analysis, just if you were to say this song has a word and this word is what the song means, what would it be? If you think about that song, what it's offering, and what a kind of a meta description might be, if there were one or two words only that you could say, what are the essence of this song? Even from the text, what are they?
I would say epiclesis, a real liturgical nerd's word.
We're here for it. We're here for it, Hillary.
Yes, great.
and give us that some texture for us, just in terms of explanation.
So that anamnestis and epiclesis that we do at the Eucharist, where we remember something so much so that it's brought into our own selves, timelines, bodies, like we are there present with Christ, and then the epiclesis asking God to send us out to do it again. Like, so it's that we are remembering for the healing that we've received, and then we're going to ask God to use us to heal the world.
Wow. So that there's something about the way this holds that energy of that word for you in song and sound. Yeah. Any others? Just again, and Pat, I know you're making it your way somewhere, so I understand you're listening at the moment, but other words, phrases, if there's one word that just speaks of the energy and the spirit of this.
Reaching out.
Thank you. Others? Popcorn style here.
I'll throw in collecting and interconnection.
Collecting and interconnection.
Incremental.
Incremental. Beautiful. One more? Or any others?
Futuring.
Futuring. Thank you. Friends, that song, that piece of music has 7 notes in it. It is a 7, follows a scale that may be a little different than a major, certainly a major scale, or something we might hear in a more diatonic context, and that's a music theory term. But friends, all the white notes of the piano. Listen to it once, and I've got an anxious dog who's sitting here for some reason, who has been clawing at the back door, and I have never done a webinar with a dog before in the space with me. And I don't know why he's a little bit weirded out by me out in the sunroom talking to all of you, but he's definitely whimpering, and I'll have to maybe tend that in another moment or two, if you don't mind.
Part of it is, I think he hears the voices. That's what happens with our pet. Like, who is out there with you? I don't understand this magic.
I think that's part of it, Hillary. He loves people. He's a very social dog. Friends, I'm just going to sing, and I would invite you for a moment, and we're going to play around with this, do a little improv with this melody and this scale. Listen. La da 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 dee, da 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 dee, 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 dee. Wherever you are and unmute, if you might just try that with me, just go up. La da dee, dee, dee. And then if we go up further, da da da, la da dee, 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 dee. Will you try that one more time? Just follow me, and maybe even your hand wants to find you too. Da dee 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 dee, da 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 Try something with me. Let's go. La da da. Try it. La ya dee. Yeah, beautiful. Just by way of shape, the composer, if you remember, notice, one by one, everyone comes to remember. Then where do we head from there? There's all that kind of right down in the, I watched your hands, we're healing the, and where does that good juicy note end up on what word? The world, one heart at a time. Fascinating to notice what word the composer decides to give emphasis to, and where and how that happens with a note that also feels like, I'm gonna say a surprise, but I don't know about you, the first time I ever heard this chant, I was totally transfixed by this melody because I'd never heard something like it before. It was a new frame for me and for my thinking. Yeah, a reach. I love that, Pamela, that interest in we're healing the world. It reaches up also. It uses the wow of world. Just what other words? Wow. It's words that pop and we really get a full, and oh, here comes Stanley to come and sing with us. Hi, Stanley. Hi, buddy. We're singing right now and composing. Can you sit down and lay down on your bed? Okay, maybe not. Anyways, friends, yeah, it puts you into a much more of a head resonance in your body, in your voice, and it makes space for you to get into that higher resonance or that register of your voice. Yeah, friends, I'm going to take just 2 minutes if you don't mind. I hate to stop.
Kissy face, kissy face,
Will
kissy.
someone who loves this song and might even have a little bit of a shimmer of it, do you want to pass it around the room? And we're going to play with it in just another moment. But let's just sing it one more time, and then I'm going to let you come off mute and do a little bit of playing within the boxes. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world, one heart at a time. Pass it around between your boxes. I'll be right back, I promise.
One by one, everyone comes to remember.
We're healing the world. Oh, you gotta come off mute and sing. One heart at a time. I think.
Keep on going. Is it going to go around one more time?
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the
World.
one heart at a time. That was brave on my part.
Thank you, Sue Ellen. Thank you all. Friends, thank you. Say it aloud, if you might. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time. I wonder if you could rewrite Michael Stilwell's, not music, but I wonder what you hear when you say that phrase to yourself. How might you say it? Would a few of you be willing to come off mute and say it in a way that feels authentic to your voice and sense of cadence? And I'll put the phrase here. One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
So Paul, you're asking us to say that in our own voice, or are you asking to like play with
Say
it
in
in
your own voice.
new words? Is that kind of like
Yeah, here's what I'll say is say it, just say it as almost a place of trying to find your sense of how you might say it. Let's say if you were reading this, some folks do reading in different places. If you're reading it as if a poem, how would you say it? What's the rhythm or the phrase, the way you would phrase it? Just wondering.
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
Thank you, Pamela. Someone else.
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing this world one heart at a time.
Thank you. What else?
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
one by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
One by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
Comes to remember is such an unusual way to say it. Starts to remember, it has kind of an emergent quality about it.
Thank you, Pamela. Yeah, friends. So I just heard 9 other possibilities for melodies, shapes, and rhythms based on that text. Maybe about 9 more. And why I say that is because every person who writes a song takes their own personal relationship with that text into the frame. There is a beautiful text by Arundhati Roy that some of you may know, and there are a few different settings of it that have gone around in music that makes community circles. Another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. I know of at least 3 different settings of that text that capture 3 completely different and beautiful harmonic, melodic mood spaces, from defiant at a protest to contemplative and waiting on the whispering wind for the breathing that is almost audible. So I say that to you not because that's a challenge, but to wonder out loud, if we were to just take 5 minutes and use Michael Stillwater's little seed of a phrase, or even just one part of the text that's calling to you. Maybe it's, as Pamela was saying, that comes to remember. Would you be willing to take 5 minutes just right now, can go off camera, and would you be willing to come back just with that text with a fragment or an idea of rhythm, a chant, a melodic germ, to offer, perhaps, if you don't have to offer it to the whole room right now, but something that you would be, that was inspired or is inspired in your own voice, in your own internal relationship with the text. Let's put Michael Stillwater's melody aside, but let's use his words right now as a starting place. So just, again, take 5. Call you back in 5 minutes. What can you make with one by one? Everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time. And I've put the text in the chat again for you. Take 5. Coming back slowly. with whatever germs or gems or seeds or, I don't know, bits of stardust we might have collected in the process. Thank you, friends. I wonder what bubbled up for you. I wonder what you noticed as you started to spend more time with that text. I wonder what might have emerged if it's just a seed, a sound, a rhythm, a fragment of a melody. Would anyone wish to courageously share something that they made? And I realize, friends, we don't yet even fully know each other's names, and yet I feel and sense an incredible care and trust in this space that I want to name and be grateful for. And I also want to say, if this isn't the time to share, that's okay too. Don't worry. There's no pressure to do that here. This is just space for offering what we have to each other. And this is a space of noticing, not of critique and judgment. Friends, what bubbled up? What came forward? Anything surprising? Anything strange? Anything?
Oh, looks like Hillary, you want to
No,
jump in?
Nathan, go ahead. I've been first many times. I don't go for it, please.
Cool. It's in my head, and I know once I hear it's gonna. Well, I mean, sometimes it's kind of fun to change it. Well, it percolates. But all right, I'm gonna see if I can remember it. Goes one by one, everyone comes to remember. We're healing the world one heart at a time. And that's it.
So Nathan, all of a sudden I noticed we weren't in 3 anymore. We were in a backbeat 4. And I think we were in like a, were we in a kind of more of like a minor-y kind of a space too? Is that?
For sure, yeah, for sure. Yep, that was it.
Any other words or phrases that you noticed? Anything we just little bits of rhythm and repetition there. Yeah, good.
I thought it had a really good depth to it. Like it had a groove and a depth. It was really an excellent pairing.
Groove and depth. Cool. Good. Someone else, again, just like popcorn style here. Let's let these plants, like we're at the nursery here and they're showing their first leaves. Yeah, please, Adam.
So I noticed it's hard to do anything regular with this text. Like as you do something and then like in the middle of comes to remember, you're like, it's got to change. It can't stay the same. I noticed that with Nathan, yours, you were like in a groove and then it was like, anyway, and I had the same issue, but I was thinking of like a children's nursery rhyme kind of song with like a one by one, everyone comes to remember we're healing the world one heart at a time.
That sound right there, Adam, is that said so much to me even before you started to sing about what the character or the sound would be, like a clock.
Yeah.
Or that sense of energy. And again, notice that we move from the roundness of 3 to something that feels like it's more maybe like a children's march or something that feels like a folk song or something in that spirit. Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for noticing the irregularity of this text. And it's asking you to make some shifts or changes. Yeah. Someone else, please pop right in.
It's funny because I was doing something similar with it, a little bit more March-like, but I just stuck with just the first 4 words. And this is the problem of having let 2 people go ahead of me. And now I can't quite remember. I think I'm going to sound more like Adam now than what I did. But it's one by one, everyone, 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 one by one, everyone.
So just again, playing with those first words. Yeah, thank you again. And that building some harmony, coming back down. Yeah, thank you. I almost imagine it like a layered song. It kind of had a quality of almost like a layered song where you could almost sing it as a round or
I wish we weren't doing this on Zoom sometimes because we can't do that. I would have loved to have just like kind of built up a triad
Yeah.
with voices on that.
Yeah, Adam's noticing how interesting that could also be as an ostinato, as a repeated melodic idea over which the rest of the text might unfurl. Yeah, everyone. Did you hear that? Just say that. Everyone. It didn't graze past the word like Michael Stillwater's does, one by one, everyone. It was even a little more emphatic in its everyone. Did you feel it, friends? It was almost as if the word had more weight or more energy. Good noticings, friends. Anything else? Any others? There are a couple more, I'm sure, that have bubbled up. And let's make time for 2 more.
I resonated. I could not get out of my head a hymn tune that I added it to. Is that okay? It wasn't my original. Okay. This is an old hymn, Once to Every Man and Nation, which is a strange one, but suddenly popped in my head with this one. And so, one by one, everyone comes to remember, we're remembering God. I changed it a little bit at the end, but that was the kind of the beat to it. It had like a little march.
So again, finding something in a known tune and then this other practice, and I kind of call this, it's like almost like a moving the furniture around a little bit to make it so that it actually fits that shape. That's a powerful and another practical way of engaging how a text might resonate within a melodic frame that already exists. Yeah, thank you, Hillary. Yeah, and there's something about that ha 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 ha, that little chug of note that gave it also a little bit more of a emphatic kind of a feeling. I don't know, did anyone else notice that kind of the feeling of that in the melodic ripple? Yeah. Anything else or anyone else? One more? Yeah, Pamela.
I'm still arguing with the text. How can you remember something you don't already know? It should be realize, understand, accept that remember is the only word. And believe me, I thought of lots of them that fits the prosody of the line. And it's more this characteristic of a universal affirmation that we're all going to happen. This is all going to, everyone is going to understand this. Strikes me as really optimistic. So I'm sorry, y'all go juggle with the tune all you want to. I'm arguing with the text, and there is no other word I could find that fits the tune other than remember.
Remember. Yeah. So there's
I mean, accept that works, but it sounds awful.
Yeah. And did it make a frame for you in terms of melody, Pamela, that you want to share?
I don't speak melody, Paul. I just look at you people doing that with awe and wonder. I'm here for the words.
Here for the words. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, is everyone really going to remember? Nathan, I think that's a great question. I don't want to get too deeply into the philosophy or into the theology of the text right now. We can have those conversations ad nauseum, maybe, I don't know. But I do want us to pay attention to this thing. And this is the gleaning. When I first worked with Alice Parker, who is a very dear colleague and friend, and one of the great American choral arrangers, and certainly a very remarkable composer, song leader, shaper of sound, she said that our first work as folk who are coming to the practice of writing melody and writing song is to somehow position ourselves not above a text, but below the text. I think this actually also reads beautifully for those of us who exegete or who interpret sacred texts or who have relationships with bodies of text like scripture or the Quran or Talmud or friends. Like, there's this sense of, I don't want to call it reverence, I want to call it maybe awe. Respect, care for, and deep relationship with those words. And so what I often will do, and one of the practices that's really nourished my sense of work in this contextual songwriting for the congregations and the spaces that I'm serving, is first, before I even set my hand to a paper or a computer to write, is to simply spend quality time with the text that I'm going to set. And that may be an invitation to dance with it, to rock it to sleep, to shout it from a mountaintop, or take it on a hike with me, to ask it what it might want to be through me, and to pay attention to the ways that it emerges or reemerges at different times in my life. There's a piece that I wrote that's called Pray with Our Feet, and it's a protest march. I've written a lot of walking songs over the years, and I know that one of the reasons that might be is I write while I'm on my hikes. I write while I'm walking, and I'm in a very natural sort of rhythmic frame. I actually have to wonder out loud if some of that, the reason the texts have taken the shape they've taken is because of the activity that I've been engaged in while I've been writing. But I wonder about where and how, if you are endeavoring to set a text, you might bring it into your life. And that may be one of the most important creative practices that I might invite you to as you imagine what it is to compose for your context, what it is to even begin the process or the practice of creating. There's a really fantastic quote, and some of us may know Dorothy Sayers. And I'd like to offer this quote by her as a way to also frame this idea. It, I think, resonates. And she wrote, "To the average person, life presents itself not as material, malleable to their hand, but as a series of problems, which they have to solve. And they are distressed to find that the more means they can dispose of, such as machine power, rapid transport, and general civilized amenities, the more their problems grow in hardness and complexity. Perhaps the first thing they can learn from artists is that the only way of mastering one's material is to abandon the whole conception of mastery and to cooperate with it in love." I also want to name how uncomfortable the word mastery makes me feel, especially in conversations we have in white-bodied spaces, especially as we're endeavoring to be anti-racist folk, as we're endeavoring to find words and ways of being in relationship with power and power dynamics that also frame who we are and how we are in the world. I wonder what being in cooperating with something in love might offer us by way of invitation to know it deeply and to share it. I have to wonder too if the making in love also in many respects doesn't translate to the sharing with love. That something about the ethos or the essence of what we're endeavoring to make and the spirit of that creation then almost like a DNA or an epigenetic kind of sending forward to those who would receive what we'll make. That's just some bigger thinking, but yeah, welcome. Yeah, please, Adam.
Well, you were talking about like taking the text different places and stuff. This reminds me a lot of, I was a theater major in college and my focus was on directing. And I did a lot of text work when I directed like Shakespeare and Pinter and stuff. But we would take, once the actors had their lines down and everything, we would take it different places that had nothing to do with the show, that didn't make any sense. So I would have them like stand on opposite sides of a busy street and try to work through the text that way, or swim in a swimming pool while doing it, or go to a library and whisper it, or we went to a sauna and did the whole scene in the sauna, and like you discover things about the words, about what they sound like, about all of that, and doing that, and you mentioning that reminds me that I need to get away from my piano when I'm we're doing those things work for music too.
And there is an interesting invitation, right? Everyone's process or practice will be different. And so today, this is not prescriptive so much as invitation into imagining. I struggled with myself today. Would I offer this webinar at a keyboard? Because there was a part of me that felt a great deal of comfort in being able to just, I can sit at the piano and play if anything else I need to support myself. And I decided not to, partly as a way of, I hope, modeling that most of the creating that I do now and in the work that I do is away from a piano. And that actually there's a way in which I think I need something to be creative, and I don't. I actually, my voice, my body, and maybe a little pitch pipe. I've got my Shruti box from South India, and she helps me out immensely for just staying on pitch. Yeah, great. Friends, things to think about. Yeah, reading music, sitting on my kitchen floor, looking out from a different perspective. And together could replace remember. Yes, indeed. Friends, I want to invite you to a piece of text that we're going to play with again, kind of coming at this from a different angle. But the first thing I'd like to do is just model maybe a little bit of an approach that I would offer, and by way of just inviting us to be liturgical nerds alongside Hillary for a moment. If I could can I say that about you, Hillary? Is that an appropriate and kind way of
It may be the most appropriate way to talk about it, for
sure. Friends, our one of the phrases that I've been struck by and stuck with, and this is our next maybe piece of work and exercise, is what's called a Trisagion. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. Just for a moment, stop yourself. I realize, friends, we are coming from different faith practices. For some of us to say, God have mercy, that can be arresting. But I wonder what you notice as you say that text. And again, echo after me. Holy God, holy, holy and mighty, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us, or mercy on us. Have mercy upon us. I got asked to compose a setting of the Trisagion for a congregation, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. I don't feel particularly suited to that text. It maybe doesn't sit, it comes generally from the Eastern rite of the church. It sits in definitely a much more in the Orthodox or Eastern tradition, though it is prayed by people of faith in many different ways, in many different places. Friends, what do you notice about just the text first off? Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. What do you notice? What does it evoke? What do you hear? What do you feel, even in your mouth or in the text as you say it?
It's like a sketch of the Trinity. Holy, 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 one.
Boom. Thank you. Others, the breathiness in the holy. Just try that for a moment. The holy. It's almost as if you're putting breath into that word and into that vowel. What else?
there's a combination of awe and distance.
Awe and distance.
I'm going to build on what Pamela mentioned, that Trinitarian to me gets really emphasized with a holiness, like your mouth almost makes like a circle, and those three circles like a Trinity knot linking with one another. It just feels very embodying of the Trinity.
Oh, I often will tell a choir when we sing words like "O" or "O Manu Mysterium," right? It's almost like your whole body becomes the letter O. I don't know if that feels right to you, but it is a feeling like a O that is so encompassing and broad. It's kind of a cosmic O. You wonder why Om is an important syllable in practice in particular religious traditions. It's because there may actually be something connected to the shape of that vowel and that sound in our bodies. Yeah. Others, whole, the sound of the word feels whole and complete. Thank you. And yeah, I love that. Yeah, holy, W-H-O-L-L, holy. There's a play in words there. Anything else that you're drawn to?
Well, the words really evoke like a positionality and really like a right sizeness in like mighty, and anyways, that's some power in that word.
Wow. So really a sense of place almost, or of a positionality. I appreciate what you said there. There's a sense of where I sit, where I belong in relationship. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. And also noticing that a natural expression of awe. Oh, like how many times have you said that in your life with surprise or delight? Holy. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden it sounds different when it's not so reverent, but it's more, wow. One of those, was it Anne Lamott says there are three prayers. There's thank you, help, and wow. That's an incredible sense of joy and potential. I'm going to put it on the screen because I also want to honor the fact that we come from different traditions, not just all oral tradition space, but can you join me in a little collection of Trisagions? I'm going to do a show. This is my collection of Trisagions that I want to share with you. And friends, the first one you're going to notice, and I hope you can see it without any grays or marks, comes right out of a plain chant tradition. And I just want to notice what it sounds like. And maybe those of us, we can do this just at home. Let's do it line by line in a call and echo. So whether you read pitches or not, don't worry. Simply just respond to what you hear and listen carefully. Holy God, holy and mighty. Try that with me, just that first line. Holy God, holy and mighty. Listen now. Holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. Holy, try that. Holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. There it is. That's the whole prayer in those two lines of text, of music, I should say, and chant. What did you notice, friends? Holy moly. Thank you for that, Adam. Mercy is another word that, and actually, friends, say the word mercy. Mercy. Do you notice where and how you feel that even in your mouth? Where do you feel it? Mercy. Almost to the front. So notice now, holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy. Do you feel the shift from the height and the openness of the O's to the mercy, the closing and the focus of the E vowel? I love and find these kinds of this attention to these simple little phrases and words to be so important for building our awareness of how we shape melody. Friends, what did you notice about that tune and about that experience of it in what I would call kind of a plain chant or chanted form? What did you notice? What words or phrases? What came up for you?
I noticed I was really drawn in by the music. I mean, there was something powerful to me about them. But I don't know if this was similar for you, Carrie, when you named distance. But for me, I'm in a place theologically of, kind of coming from Lutheran roots now in the UCC, sort of wrestling with like, well, mighty, even Lord, Lord have mercy, right? Of like, not wrathful God. And I know there's lots of different ways to think about that. But so I'm in kind of a place of both like noticing my wrestling with that, but also coming to a place of curiosity of like, what did I miss before? What, when I'm listening to my other friends here who are like, yes, Trinity, yes, mighty, what do I have to learn there? So that's what I'm noticing.
Thank you for noticing the way words can trigger and words can challenge and sharpen our listening. And even wondering out loud, can I sing that, or do I wish for others to sing that phrase or that text? I think that's also a powerful thing as you're thinking about your context and authenticity from your own voice. Ancient liturgical traditions are an incredible gift to us. And I bring this not with any sense of this is where we have to start, but more as models of possibility and invitation into some noticing. Yeah, good. Any others? What else popped up for you?
I'm always drawn in by plain chant. And actually, I was just thinking, because I tend to get drawn in by melody in general and rhythm, and then I'm struck by the words later. And like Nathan, I come from a Lutheran tradition. I'm steeped in that, being the daughter of a Lutheran pastor. But I also have, in the last few years, especially struggled with words like Lord, less with mercy, because we're thinking about, I think about the times when somebody has experienced violence and or something, or their loved one has been killed. I find that the people who naturally move towards forgiveness are the ones that heal better. And I don't know if that's like mercy as well. It's not necessarily that you're going to be able to extend mercy or that you have anything to say about how the person is incarcerated or whatever, but what you feel in your own heart to another person, whether that is mercy, if you are able to reach a place of forgiveness, or a place of healing.
Thank you.
So,
by way of, and again, continuing to focus the conversation, I really appreciate this is important. We're looking at these words and we're really asking, what are they meaning for us? I also wonder, just to ask maybe even just a little bit more, I don't want to say superficial question, but a little bit more to the surface of how did that melody shape the way you heard that text?
So
I
I'll
like
talk about
the
melody.
undecorated quality of that melody.
Undecorated quality. Thank you, Pamela. Sue Ellen.
Yeah, I think the plain song is a way of stripping off a lot of maybe excessive noise, and it brings, I feel very close to the divine in melodies like that. There doesn't seem to be anything between me and God. And so that melody does that, strips it down.
So there's a simplicity and did you notice an almost at times syllabic quality in which one note almost per syllable with certain words. I'm going to put it back up on the screen because I just want to notice it because I think it's important to frame. Just noticing this beautiful way in which and if you could try this with me, just for fun, this is another kind of exercise I invite you to. Imagine you're have a ball and we're right now in the ocean or in a swimming pool. And I want you to imagine what would happen if you took that ball and pushed it down. What happens when you push a ball down into water? You feel resistance, don't you? And what happens when you let go of it? It goes up, doesn't it? It springs up. I wonder what would happen if you felt like you pushed into parts of the melody like this. Watch. Holy God. Do you notice I almost pressed into the word? Will you try that with me? And yay, there's a dog barking now. Yay. Holy God. And as you go higher, just try this. Holy and mighty. Try it. Holy and mighty. Imagine, again, it's almost as if you're stretching it out a little bit like taffy, or you're turning it into sort of a longer arc or energetic sort of flow. Super. I want to share one other different, or maybe two other, just quickly different versions of this. And I'm going to let the dog in if you hold on just one moment. But the next one you'll see is right here. And some of you may know this for the fact that it's a piece that was written for a specific community, for St. Gregory of Nyssa Episcopal Church in California. And it was written by Rick Fabian, who is one of the folk who has been connected to the work of music that makes community in various ways over the years. Listen. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. Listen again. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. Try it with me on mute one more time. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy upon us. What did that musical setting do for that text? That's a big contrast. But friends, how did that musical robing, if you will, or dressing of that text change what you heard?
It's much more strident. You know, it's this bold proclamation. For me, it was.
Thank you. So yeah, it goes up into a very high part of the voice too, doesn't it? Almost reaching, crying. It doesn't have the internal melodic reach of One by One. Yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't swoop up. It sort of finds its way up there quite, yeah, it's more hills and vales. Anything else?
The first one to me had almost a heartbeat quality to it. And it was making me think about the mercy of God as akin to the compassion of God, which has its roots in the word womb. It's very similar to the word womb in Hebrew, and thinking about like that almost pulse about what it would be like in the womb of God for the first one. And then this one it's kind of more like, yeah, like I like Sue Ellen how you put that. You know, there's a cadence to this one that's a little bit stronger. You could march, thinking about where he started, yes, thinking of St. Gregory of Nyssa, right? Like you could dance around the altar with this one.
So that the piece actually is served, I should say, a liturgical moment or a liturgical context is served by that music, right? So at St. Gregory of Nyssa, there is often a gathering around in a circle, and there is movement or there is drumming. There is a sense of an embodied kind of engagement with the music in the liturgy. And so how does that piece match the needs of the moment and a particular liturgical mood that is being created or an expectation? That's a contextual question, but one that I think is really, really thoughtful. Thanks for bringing that up. How about one more just for fun? And this one is through the vision and the melodic imagination of Francisco Feliciano, who is a Filipino composer. Not going to play the harmony for you, but I'm just going to invite you to listen. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Try it. Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Again, I love this conversation. What about that one? What did you notice? What changed? What energy came forward? How did you hear those words through the gift of that particular melodic idea?
It brought me to the I felt like the beginning and the end, you know, like the bigness of like here we're becoming, and here we are ending.
It's a sense of roundness, completion. You wrote new lyrics. Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. We'll take it. We'll take it. I love it.
I hit return and I meant to not hit return so
Oh,
quickly.
it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. Friends, yeah, what about that one by Feliciano? Oops, sorry. Shruti box. Oh, Pat, I think you're on.
I'll put it in the chat and then I can tell you about it. How's that?
Great. Pat, I think you were talking and you were on mute. Oh, no. Okay. Just wanted to be sure. Others. Did you notice that the word holy didn't get such big billing, did it? What word came through in that first phrase? Holy God. Did you notice the shifting of the accent? Like we did with Everyone Comes to Remember. Every composer, every songwriter, every person, as they bring the gifts of their melodic sense and shape, and those texts together will have a different way of offering that phrase. Yeah, Holy One among us, holy beloved one, birth mercy this day. Okay, Carrie, we're gonna have to talk. This is that, friends. Will you look into the chat and look at what has been offered by someone in the group to invite us to both consider and reframe Trisagion, Holy One, holy among us, holy beloved one, birth mercy this day. First of all, may I just change my plans a little bit and say, instead of now for the next 7 minutes going off and writing a Trisagion, friends, will you be willing to set a text that feels like it's connected to or honors the heart of what we've been talking about in this last time? It could be that you really would love to set Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy on us. You might find Carrie's invitation to Holy One, holy among us to spark you, or you might find other words that simply express what the heart of this text is for you. Maybe that's just mercy. Maybe that's just wholeness. Maybe it's just a word or a phrase. Maybe it's a more lyrics or words. Friends, let's take time. We'll just, again, use this as a time to kind of move your body around. We're at a kind of more than halfway point, but feel free. And let's actually come back in 10 minutes. Let's give each other 10 minutes. Let's take time and come back at 3:25 Eastern, and we'll find each other here and share what we've got. Thank you. we'll continue and forward, but Judy will tell your dogs that they are composers too. I'm grateful that the dog here in this house has decided to relax a little bit and is finally snoozing. Maybe is a song is part of the solution. One could hope. Friends, welcome back from a space of break, and just invite you to, with me, just take a deep breath. Then I wonder if, as you look around the space that you're in right now, has anything changed in the last few minutes we've been together? Anything noticeably different around you or within you that you'd like to share or name aloud? Thank you for being so good to yourself by giving yourself time to be in a focused space of creating. What a gift you give yourself, and you also are giving us the gift of us sharing in that with you today. Yeah, an aliveness. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, kind of a moving around, spirit is singing, something clicked, finally clicked. Appreciate that, Pamela. Friends, does someone have a something to share? And if you shared earlier and want to make room for others, we'd welcome that too. Just if your voice is yearning to share something that has come forth in our creative time, please know that it's welcome here. And what have you made, written, shared, chewed on, even if it's just a little bit of a fragment? We're not expected to show up with a ninth symphony here.
Okay, I came up with something, so but I'll let it rip. Oh, life giving one. Oh, life giving one. And presence and presence. Oh, life giving one. Oh, life giving one.
I'm going to breathe that in with you, Pat. I think because of your audio settings, we missed some of the higher parts when it went up to your audio section. I don't know if your original sound for musicians is on.
I'm sorry, it wasn't on.
Do you want to put it on and try again? We'd love to hear it. I think I could see everyone in the group like leaning into the
Yeah, I
screen.
saw that too. Okay, well, this is what came through. I'll see if it comes out the same one. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, life giving one. Oh, life giving one. Full of grace and presence. Full of grace and presence. Oh, life giving one. Oh, life giving one.
Thank you for sharing it again. I heard these words, "Oh, life-giving one, full of grace and presence." Is that what I heard? Friends, what did you notice about what Pat shared? What did you hear? What did you sense? Again, we're not, this isn't a analysis or we're just noticing. We're paying, what did you feel? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience?
It felt like a gift of gratitude offered upward. Offered up, or just say up, offered up. Yeah.
I imagine a congregation singing that, and together, the voices together, and just in again the grace and that then incarnates grace and presence when to have a congregation singing something like that together. So, oops.
Yeah, I thought there's so much, it was beautiful as a standalone, and then thinking about having different harmonic pieces to it. I just thought that would be beautiful.
Are there other layers or other harmonies waiting to be found in it? Yeah. Pat, I noticed and felt, as others have noticed too, this sense of rise and wave. It was like waves. I got a feeling of, life. It was as if it welled up and then it spilled out. That was a very profound, and knowing that you spent a little time in Florida recently, and maybe even by the beach, I don't know, but I wonder if there's a little bit of the energy of the sea. Oh, it flowed in a particularly nourishing way. Good. Someone else. What else bubbled up for you around this text, Trisagion, or something connected to it, or what found you? Thank you, Pat, for your sharing, being courageous to share. What bubbled up for you? Yeah, Adam.
I was thinking about some of the side conversation about mercy and like, what does the phrase "Lord have mercy" mean? And I was thinking about my grandmother and what she meant when she said, "Lord have mercy." So this is running it up. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy on us. Holy God, holy and mighty, holy immortal one, have mercy on us.
Breathe that in, friends. And I mean, also too, it's really helpful to notice too, from your own experience and perspective, Adam, what did you notice too in the sharing of it? But friends, what did you notice? What did you feel? What did you hear? What did you experience in that sharing? Energy. And passion. Yeah.
Emotional ambivalence.
Say that one more time, Pamela.
Emotional ambivalence. There isn't the certainty as there is in the texts we've looked at. With this one, you really honestly don't know if God's going to show up.
Fascinating. So that we're hearing layers of also, there's maybe even a question in the something of the shape of that melody. Also that reaching, I felt that and noticed that reaching upward into what almost felt like a place that felt like, I won't say an extreme, but it felt like a I need you to hear me right now space. It's the time that your mother said, get in here right now. I don't know if that was your grandmother too, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, so like, it obviously owes a lot to Black music and spirituals and gospel, but also to like Depression era High Lonesome and this sort of like desperateness mixed with praise. It feels a lot to me like back at intergenerational camp last year, the one song prayer where it was this like God is good, but also like how long will we wait?
Holding those tensions in the ways that we're creating and what we're creating, and recognizing that every community is holding, and each individual is holding different, maybe polarities and different sorts of challenges and shape. Yeah, friends, we'll be in touch about the sharing pieces of this in the follow-up time, because there's beauty here and lots of goodness to share. Others, another 2 or 3, anything. What has bubbled up? Yeah, Pamela.
The Fabian Trisagion is a holy text for me, and I wouldn't dare mess with it. So I just kind of turned you all off and answered email for a few minutes. And then it occurred to me that for a refrain that short, it would be common to add a gloss of a psalm verse or something else from scripture. God not willingly afflicting his people, or weeping stays for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Or Pat's beautiful reflection that you could set this as the Trisagion, a soloist singing a gloss, the Trisagion, a soloist singing the gloss, a Trisagion again.
What an interesting way of turning song in that. You're thinking about a song structure right there, Pamela. That's really literally like what a refrain and verse structure could be in a ballad or in another sort of more popular musical style. But also noticing that there's a way that that text could live in counterpoint to other spaces, both poetically and theologically. There's a lot of potential for, maybe I could say, mixing and matching, or if not mixing and matching, certainly beating together different, expanding and explaining even. Yeah, that's great. Super. Thank you for invitation to What If. Adam, your Trisagion was followed by some verses or invitation. What would that sound like? Same for you, Pat. What would your Trisagion, your utterance of I'm going to go back to the text so I can hear it again. Oh, life-giving one. Are there any other words that wish to be shared to flesh that out further? That could be part of a verse structure or sung by a small group within an ensemble. I don't know. These are the ways we begin to think about taking a smaller structure, right, and turning it into a song or into a larger structure when we start to think about shapes. Yeah. Others, please share.
I just really think that Adam, I think you could have given a disclaimer like, wow, we need a big space for this one before you. But, I think that really opened up the idea that for a diverse voice, that to explore diverse experiences with this Trisagion. And it was just a really, really fine invitation to open that up to diverse experiences of our lives and what this means. And thank you for that.
Friends, I do this kind of work in congregations with psalms, with other prayers, and with sacred texts and not sacred text poetry, because our engaging with words meaningfully through sound and song begin to take it from here, which is where, I'm sorry to say, a lot of folks I work with live, and I do too. But my journey has been taking those words down into the lower place, into the heart, and maybe also into my gut, into my belly, and deep down to the heart of who I am and how I meet the divine, and how the divine, what I say, meets me, and how I meet others even too. What a great and interesting invitation to take it in, to digest it, to metabolize it, to cook with it even. I don't know. I'm trying to find the right images here, scattered all over. Other Trisagions, other utterances, please make them.
I'll jump in and go back, and I used Carrie's lovely text, so I want to go back and get it. I want to lift that up. Let's see. Here we go. All right, let's see if I can remember it now after all the sharing. Holy One, holy among us, holy beloved one. That's getting a little high. Here, let's try that again. Okay. Holy One, there we go. Holy among us, holy beloved one, birth mercy this day. That's it.
Would you offer it one more time, Nathan? Can we hear it one more time? Do you mind?
Sure, yeah.
Let it kind of wash over.
Yeah, sure. Holy One, holy among us, holy beloved one, birth mercy this day. Okay. Holy One, holy among us, holy beloved one, birth mercy this day.
What an amazing experience of a text that was born in this last hour and a melodic setting of that in the hour. This is really, my heart is just very full with the ways that we're inspiring each other. What do you notice, friends, about that experience? What did you notice about Nathan's setting of Carrie's text? Wow, that's like such a trippy thing to say. What did you notice?
Again, Nathan, you have a really great way of getting us into a groove. Like there's a fun flow about your music that also helps a person go deep. And I think that it was a good marriage for this text because it was hopeful and yet simple, like in those two things, right? You know, like it spoke to a grand idea in a simple, loving way.
I was imagining that this, like in a congregational setting, it would be like, that song, and then like somebody would pray, oh, and we pray about blah, blah, blah. And then the whole congregation then sings that. And then there's prayer, like a sandwich. That would be powerful.
Think of all the places in our lives and in our world where mercy might need to be birthed. It could be during a time of prayers for the needs of our communities and the world. Again, the Trisagion is often used in that way, right? In a classic liturgical way. Lord, have mercy, right? Where do we use that? As a way of imploring or asking for help. Imagine other settings. And friends, this is where actually we start to think about context. We have so much richness and beauty in our liturgical traditions and in our hymnals and songbooks. But what changes in your community if something like a prayer response or a moment of sung prayer is something that is written for and by you for the community? I will say this, my experiences of writing sacred song in a community that welcomed those expressions creatively were what I think really encouraged and enlivened me in my vocation as a young church musician. I was so grateful that a pastor said, hey, I don't know that I want to sing the Gloria Patri one more time in our classic Presbyterian service. What else is there? And when I couldn't find some things that felt like they were the right tone for our kind of, what I would say, multicultural congregation, but also aspiring to some different kinds of ways of speaking about and to God, right? Like all of a sudden, could I write something? Became a possibility. And that song, for all intents and purposes, which could have been just a thing that happened in that one congregation, got shared with somebody else, and then it got published in a Presbyterian hymnal. Who knew? I don't say that because that's the point of it, but more just to share that it was the encouragement and support that really made that flame grow. Any others in this last time? I've got one last piece of text to share before we go, and we'll talk together about what next steps we might take. But any other musical or textual utterances come forward from you for this time?
I also played with Carrie's music. Carrie, I'm just noticing now you're from British Columbia. Where are you from? Because that's where I live too. But yeah, I changed the lyrics ever so slightly. But I prefer beloved to Lord, though sometimes I struggle with beloved when I'm reading the Bible and I see what beloved is doing. I'm not that keen on it. Let me get my note. Holy One, holy among us, holy beloved, birth mercy in my heart. I'll do it again. Sorry. Holy One, holy among us, holy beloved, birth mercy in my heart.
What did you notice, friends? What did you notice in that from Anne? That rising and that falling. Yeah, that personalization, Pat, I noticed that as well. What changed for me in the hearing when it was birth mercy in my heart? What that little shift of language invited by way of positionality, as you were saying earlier too, Pat, all of a sudden there's some kind of sense of relationship enacted and expressed here. Also the heart. Yeah, accessible in a great way. Yeah. Friends, this is just a little taste test of a way that we have been doing this work. We've had 2 iterations of composing ourselves prior to this. And they've both been an extraordinary time of generative, creative energy, where we've had folk who come together to make things together. And today, while more of a seminar, is perhaps not the format that we would like to always have, but instead imagine and wonder about, in the next time, making some space for small group sharing and for some drop-ins to share what you're making. So rather than to simply say, okay, and in 2 weeks, we'll see you here at the same time, is to send some prompts and send some ideas out and to gather at a time when we might say for an hour and say, what did we create together? And continuing to root ourselves in a place of support and of nurture, breaking even into some small groups, I could imagine, if we've got even just duos or trios, and we could do some of that in smaller spaces, but then wondering what might bubble up. And so I will send just a little bit of a survey following this event, just to say, what are you interested in? And if you'd like to sign up for something like a small group to continue to sort of like a writing circle, to continue to write music and continue to write text, I would absolutely love to continue to make space like this, but also kind of each time anchoring ourselves in text, anchoring ourselves in melody, little bits of application of some ideas and study, but also, and more than anything, the expression that might come out of this community over time. As you know, creativity is a practice. It's not just a thing that one does once. It's something that we do every day, and you are doing it. And clearly, this is a community of practice. Yeah, and also, yeah, great. Some more things noticing here. Yeah, the big gift to me today was the word birth. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and that the ways in which our language is being shaped, and we are encouraging and inviting each other. Friends, as we prepare to go our way today, I wonder, is there anything else that wishes to be shared by way of song or utterance? Is there anything else that wants to bubble up before we look at a text of Elder Stephen Charleston and give ourselves a blessing and a gift of continuing song in these days ahead? Are there gratitudes or words or even just some song that wants to find its way to the surface?
My gratitude is just what a joy it's been to be with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. It's good to see your face. I'm going to be in Philadelphia this summer a little bit. I'll email you.
I'll take you out to lunch if you do. It's a promise.
Others. Keep singing in your heart, no matter what challenges you face, no matter how alone you may feel, keep singing. Your song is life, an anthem of hope against all odds, an announcement that we are here, even if it is hard to see in the fog of change. But our voices will carry over the high hills. Our song will penetrate the shadows. We will hear one another singing, still singing, always singing, and take heart. Friends, I wonder what might happen if we let ourselves sing this text as we go, sing it to each other as blessing, as gratitude, but also as encouragement to continue to create and, yes, to continue to sing. Keep singing, keep singing, keep singing, keep singing. Feel free to share the text in the chat or your own text in your heart as we bless each other with some words of Stephen Charleston or someone else. I don't know. Keep singing, friends.
Still singing, always singing, and take heart.
Take heart.
Your song is life, an anthem of hope.
Your song is life.
Even if it's hard in the fog of change, our voices will carry the high hills.
The high hills, the high hills.
And penetrate the shadows.
Our
And
song will penetrate the shadows. Will penetrate the shadows.
penetrate the shadows, penetrate the shadows, they will penetrate the shadows.
Through the fog of change. Keep singing, friends. Keep singing. Keep creating. Keep writing.
Keep loving.
We will hear one another.
We will listen under the text and interrogate it with love.
Yes, we will, and we'll also cooperate with it as well.
In love.
Take heart. Take heart.
Take heart. Hmm. Friends, thanks for the generosity and the care with which you have been in this space with each other. Thank you for your presence and your playfulness, your willingness to be open-hearted and courageous in this work of creating together and with people you maybe have never met in person or maybe met in person once or twice. I can see many of you here on this screen whom I know only through a time or two, but what a gift to find strangers and friends and to learn. Friends, we'll be in touch about other opportunities to drop in for creative sharing and for more of this kind of work. In the meantime, will you take good care of yourself and keep singing, okay? And take heart. Thanks again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Paul. You always keep the space so beautifully. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for holding it, for occupying it with beauty and care and grace, all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie, I wonder, I'd love to talk to you about that text. I found that particularly evocative and rich, and would love to play with that if we have permission.
Of course. I am a hymn lyricist. I do this.
That's it.
So I live in Canada, and I'm in the United Church of Canada. We have a hymnal supplement, and I've got, I don't know, 4 hymns that I've written. And then if you use Seasons of the Spirit or Whole People of God, I've had some of my hymns through there as well. So sure, I'd love to, and I'm on one license, so I'd love to work with anybody who, because I'm primarily a lyricist.
Great.
I have done a little bit of composing, but my strength is really writing lyrics. So yeah, I'll just put my email in the chat.
Please do, and we'll share it. Carrie, I want to also say, as we as an organization have watch and see new shorter forms of music, we call it paperless, but we also recognize that there is such a need for really thoughtful, theologically expansive texts that are shorter form, that can be taught in call and echo or call and response formats that play with kind of classic structures of oral tradition learning, but that open up language that feels much, much more expansive for us.
It's a totally different thing when you're singing your theology. It's radically different. When you sing theology, it enters into your cells. And so it's not intellectual, it's very different. So I'm always curious about what happens to us when what we're singing is expressing the theology that we can really enter into. And it's certainly not to say that historical texts or historical kinds of hymns don't have power, but it's just that I guess for me there's just been excitement in saying, how do we express climate change? How do we express the fact that we're in a time where if we don't find better ways of reaching out to one another, you know, we're collectively destroying each other. Could we find ways to collectively heal each other? So anyway, so yes, I'd be delighted to collaborate with anybody that is interested in doing that.
Great.
And like I said, I'm already on one license, so I can add things in the mix there. So
Great.
Gary, I'm excited to hear you talk about that. I often have tons of melodies going through my head. I sometimes do like to write my own lyrics as well, but I often am like, I need somebody to send me either poetry, and I've been like visioning about a lot of what you just talked about of like, you know, I mean, I've sort of like, I've got the short, simple ones. I also do some guitar, you know, singer-songwriter stuff of like, I've been obsessed with progressive. What does progressive praise and worship music sound like? And some of that's already out there, and some of that we still need. And I want to write some of that, but I also like, I've really been I'm at a point where I'm just like, I've got 2 kids, and I've had a long like, wow, life has been too full to do anything more, and I'm just at this like, I am here today, and I am ready. Yes, thank God. And I'm really excited to connect with folks like you and kind of continue this work.
Likewise, and I'm seeing in the text that Adam is saying he writes text. He would love to share and find groups to share together. I mean,
Yes.
it really, there's something so wonderful about working with others and teaming together, because you're not, it's not just you. Somebody's saying, you know, what if we shifted that one word? What if we, so anyway, yes.
We'll compile these things too.
Oh, you, there we go.
I'll put these together too, and we'll make sure that we can be in community with each other. This is really important. Thank you, friends. This is really great. I am just want to say, yeah, we'll make it possible so that we can be connected together, and I think that feels absolutely right. Groups of practice, and also, I mean, this work, Music That Makes Community, was begun literally with a composer's workshop, where
Really?
work emerged out of a group of composers who got together to create. And it was during those days of writing new material that that so much of what we've done, we know it comes out of collaboration and out of a sense of community creativity. The gifts we give each other and the feedback we offer for the work, it's profound. So anyways, be well, and thanks again, everyone. Good to see friends from British Columbia here again today. And Adam, great to see you. And Nathan, we'll be in touch. Take care.
Thank you all.
Be well.
You will.